Welcome back. I am here with our friend Tabitha Zeigler.
Hi.
She is running for Indiana's 8th congressional district,
Mhm.
which is southwest Indiana.
Mhm.
Goes from half of Fountain County all the way down to the boot
Bottom.
toe.
Mhm.
um, so it's
41 all the way down.
that's a wide district.
Yeah.
It's a huge district. How do you make your message reach across that wide of a district?
Well, we're all Hoosiers, and I think there are a lot of families that have been there for a long time, like mine. We're highly still, even for the big cities, we're highly agricultural. I think Indiana has like 63% farmland still. I'm from a farming community. Um, I started actually my Daughters of the American Revolution application because my family's been here that long. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, all of us sort of want the same thing, right? We want a better future for our kids. We want decent health care. We want to have like clean air, clean water, be able to eat stuff that comes out of the ground. We all have that in common
And why do you think so many progressives are running this time?
because they're tired of it. They're tired of it. They're tired of, I think it's happening in both parties, but because I'm a Democrat, I will say they're tired of the establishment. They're tired of other people that aren't living your life telling you what you should do, how you should do it, how you should live. And at the end of the day, they're all taking big corporation money. So they're basically in bed together. And I think there's a good portion of us now that we're like, just tell the truth. Just tell the truth and let people make their own decision.
Are you seeing this as a battle between left versus right, or are you
Mm.
seeing it as in a different context?
I think there is a war against the American people right now. There's a war between the extreme wealthy and everyone that's not that. And whenever you start to talk about things like this, red and blue very much fades into purple because we're all doing the same things. We're all, running the hamster wheel, doing the rat race, whatever you're doing to try and take care of your kids, whether you're disabled, whether you're a veteran, whether you're part of the trans community, they're trying to segment us when we're all trying to live the best life that we possibly can. It's not that we're not hard workers. We're happy to work. We just want a decent wage. We want to be able to maybe take a vacation with our kids, not be sick all the time, be able to give our kids an actual potato instead of having to go and get crappy French fries from wherever. And obviously, we just want what everybody wants. We want what everybody wants across the US and across the world is to just have a decent life, to have chance.
And if somebody flat out came up to you and said, "You are a socialist," how would you respond to that? Like,
Mm.
or if someone asked, "Why are you socialist?"
Mm.
How would you respond?
I think I would ask them how they feel about the Epstein class, and then we can have that conversation. Because I feel like we need to hammer away at these very elitist people who now we have seen across the board, they're controlling everything. Their tentacles have been everywhere. They've infiltrated every aspect of our lives. And now that essentially the veil has been lifted, we're like, what in the hell has been going on? So socialist, democratic socialist. I mean, at the end of the day, what are you trying to do to benefit your populace? And whether you're in Fountain County or whether you're in Vanderburgh County or Warwick County or wherever, we basically have the same agenda. That it's we want to make sure Hoosiers are all right. At the end of the day, we don't need to squabble over those petty things because all of those petty things are what are holding us back as a society from all of us having a better life.
How I see it is, when did caring about people
Mm.
become such a bad thing?
I don't know. I think I am very controversial that way because I care and because I won't let up and because I'm going to speak the truth and I'm going to hammer down on people. And, there's something to be said too, to stand up for what you believe in, to stand up for the little guy, if you will, but to do it consistently and unapologetically. And definitely, I have a problem with people right now that get tongue-tied because they feel, oh God, I got to watch what I say because I don't want to piss off my donors. I don't want to piss off my sponsors because what happens when I run again? People right now that I think are running that are progressives, they're doing it for different reasons.
Mhm.
Like right now, I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing it for my kids. I'm doing it for the rest of the kids. I'm trying to create space to let them catch up because let's face it, this fight's going to be 40, 50 years for us. And, you know, all the politicians right now have just royally shit the bed, and they need us to come in now and help fix their mess.
What qualities would you say that you possess to make you a good congresswoman from the state of Indiana?
I think I very authentically represent the values of Hoosiers, which I think have become a little muddled nowadays with this whole fight of, picking sides.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, we're a cup of sugar people. I don't think we're going to leave each other hanging. I think it's much more common for a Hoosier, irregardless of what background or religion you have, to eat, say, like a fried bologna sandwich or ramen noodles. And I know it sounds silly, but like we need people like that in office. We need the people that have been on WIC, have been on SNAP, are a disabled veteran, people right now that are actually struggling because everybody's struggling.
Mhm.
So how can you represent these people that are struggling if you've never struggled or if right now you're currently detached from everybody's reality?
I read a report that, and since you're running for federal, it fits right in your ballywick. Um, so Costco just brought a lawsuit against the federal government
Mhm.
for the tariffs,
Mhm.
and they are demanding $175 million
Mhm.
to be repaid for the tariffs. What is your response to corporations passed the buck on to us,
Mm.
and now they're wanting to be reimbursed for something they really didn't pay for?
Mm.
So we're being stuck with that bill.
Mhm.
It's once again, it seems like they're reverse Robin Hood.
Mm. Well, I'll tell you what I do right now. This is just my thing because I'm trying to get off the hamster wheel.
Mm.
And I want to invest in local businesses. I watched all these little communities around me just die, basically. And it wasn't because they weren't hardworking. It wasn't because they weren't good people. But, Amazon's easy. Stuff like that. I also did these things. I don't think any of us were aware of what was happening. And this is why the Epstein files and the Epstein class is so important because they sort of hoodwinked us. We got too comfortable. We forgot about our neighbors. And I think right now we need to take every opportunity we have to really practice that community. And part of that can be as simple as paying in cash, frequenting local businesses. Maybe it's a little bit more convenient for you to physically go to the place. And I know plenty of people like these big businesses and it makes life convenient. But now look what they're doing to everybody. Like I'm not saying everybody has to do the same thing, but find a few things that you can do that you feel good about and pay in cash.
My thinking is for those of us who live, out in the country,
Mm-hmm.
not actually in a suburban or
Mm-hmm.
urban area.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, rural Democrats do exist. There's two of them right here.
Hello.
I mean, we have so many different opportunities than the urban and suburban that a lot of our neighbors are ranchers or farmers. How much is half a cow? It's a lot less than going to Walmart, Myers, and getting a 3-pound tube that you can barely see in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the act locally.
Look, farmers are hurting right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we can find ways that whatever we can do to jump off that hamster wheel, right? Part of the problem, I think, is a lack of food independence. And there are those of us that grew up on farms like myself that I feel like I should be teaching people. And I'll probably do more of that, especially for little kids. I had a nonprofit that the first year we did it, we had we were planting flowers and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. But I feel for autistic kids as well as the disability community, I mean, it works for everybody, but I've just seen this work in my community. Touching grass, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
like getting back to your roots. I mean, it's therapeutic. You can be more independent. Whatever that looks like for you. And you can do that in town, right? Maybe it's an herb garden. Maybe you start with a tomato plant. Maybe you decide to make your own sourdough bread. Maybe you just keep some extra yeast in your house. You watch a few videos, but then once you figure out how to do it, then teach somebody else. And I feel like, especially in Indiana right now, those of us that know how to do these type of things, we should be teaching people and influencing people, because when people are less dependent on that system, they are truly independent. And then they make better choices.
I know you are a huge advocate
Yeah.
for autism,
Mhm.
ADHD, AUADHD.
Mhm.
And where can people actually, aside from your congressional campaign,
Mhm.
catch you talking about your advocacy work?
Oh, if you want to find out about me, just listen to my podcast, Staring Down the Storm, Autism Advocacy in America, because I let it rip and I don't hold back, and we talk about all of the things. Anything that touches the life of a Hoosier and really like Americans, we're going to talk about it. I think it's much more common than people realize. And it's important to have these conversations, right? Because right now, you had RFK that was going on about bad stuff, and you have people that know and people that don't. And these kids, they're like new generation of superheroes, and we're it. They're looking at us
Mm-hmm.
like, they're like, we're not 18 yet. We don't have a chance. I'm autistic. I don't want to be sent to a camp or something like that. And this is where we come in, and we're like, right, there are bad things going on. It's very scary. And the adults in the room are going to try and do something about it. We can't fix everything. I'm not saying we're going to flick our fingers and change it overnight, but these kids need to see us showing up.
You know what? I think we need more of people like us in politics, that we have that special ability to think outside the box, because our brains are not wired the way that most people's brains are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, we see an injustice.
Mm-hmm.
We must fix that injustice.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what makes us superheroes.
For sure. Well, I always say that really anybody that's neurodivergent, we're like the canaries in the coal mine.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever we sense danger, I think our response is to warn people. And so anybody that's in your area that has autism or ADHD or something like that, if they're talking to you about something, it's because they're trying to warn you. It's because they have this, social justice knack. I think that's my thing. Like, that's my tism, right? I just can't look away. I'm going to beat that drum to death. And it's not okay to leave people behind. So apparently, I'm just one of those people. And so now I'm leaning into it.
And we do thank you for it. Where can people go to find out more about you and to donate to you?
So we're still working on the website, but it's going to be tabithazeiglerforcongress.com. And in the meantime, they can find me on social media. Just plug in my name, Tabitha Zeigler. I'm basically on any of the sites. But yeah, I mean, I think most importantly, if you really want to get a sense for who I am, just start listening to those podcasts, because then you will also see that I started this like a year ago. So right away, I got my spidey senses were activating, and I was like, what am I going to do about this? I need to do something. And then I started my podcast. And then I've just been, releasing episodes every Friday. I try to talk to as many people as I can. I try and have very authentic conversations. And the goal is to help people.
Awesome. Well, once again, thank you very much for running for Congress.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem.